On this episode, we ponder a question that we're almost afraid to ask. Is the rule of law finally coming to Thailand?
So if you've been noticing an uptick in stories about the authorities cracking down, you'll love this episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
Sawadee krap. Welcome to the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who came to Thailand in 2001, sick of the blue stains that eating blueberries left on my fingers, but now has to contend with the purple stains that eating mangosteens leaves on my fingers.
Pretty fun. And I'm Ed Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a one-year teaching contract over 25 years ago. Fell in love with Thai customer service staff who lead with a big heart rather than actual useful knowledge, so I never left.
I'm going to go on a limb and say you're talking about the 600 people that assault you whenever you walk into a Home Pro.
Dude, I practically live at Home Pro doing my renovations, and
It's a wave of orange aprons.
they're so nice, and then they rarely actually know more than me, which is the purpose. I'm the customer. They work there, so their level of knowledge is supposed to be at least one step more than me.
Right. We did a show about this. I'm not sure if it was you and me or me and Evo I think it was you and me about the lack of Thailand's home renovation subculture.
Right. Yeah, DIY, DIY stuff.
Yeah. The DIY subculture. Yeah. And we said back in Canada, I could go to any hardware store and there'd be some dude covered in sawdust with like two fingers missing. And he would
Right.
know everything about every tool and joint and flange
That's
and hinge,
Well,
You missed
Bangkok has the stores. It has stores that are DIY, but mostly it's what I've realized is mostly it's actually workers. It's actually Thai workers go to the store. It's not like dads. In the States,
interesting.
it's like a dad who's going to build a deck in his backyard.
Right.
But
I know.
so usually the customer in Thailand actually knows more than the staff, but that's not what I expect. When I go there, I want the staff to know more than me.
I'm here to help, not to educate.
That's right. All right. We want to give a big thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get every episode a day early, behind the scenes photos of our interviews, a heads up to send questions to upcoming guests, and access to our Discord server to chat with me, Greg, and other listeners around the world. But best of all, patrons also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and Bangkok topics. On this week's bonus show, we chatted about a cool new website that tracks municipal complaints in Bangkok and rates the districts on how responsive the authorities are, discussions on Nene and how the Thai government, unsurprisingly, has pounced on her breakout fame to promote Thailand, and a few quick discussions around passive-aggressive neighbors, communicating with construction workers, and of course, yet another tragic fire in a pub in Bangkok that could have been prevented. To learn how to become a patron and get all this good stuff, plus full access to over 800 bonus and regular back episodes, click the support button at the top of our website.
That's right. And don't forget, if you listen to us on Spotify, you can now hear all of the bonus shows there as well. If you're a patron, simply link your Patreon account to your Spotify account and add our new feed titled Bangkok Podcast Badass Patrons Only. That's literally the title, to hear the regular and bonus shows in the same place. Right then, on this episode, we ponder a question that may perhaps elicit snorts and automatic "of course nots" when you hear it. Is the rule of law finally being applied across Thailand? Now, I think we can all agree that laws are generally a good thing, especially for Ed, famously a rule of law guy. But everyone knows that their enforcement in Thailand is often a bit more elastic than they could be or should be. But there have been some recent articles in the news, not to mention something that happened to me recently, that made us wonder, are things changing? Have the Thai authorities finally gotten sick of the good name of Thailand being associated with organized crime and lax law enforcement? Or is this merely another in a long line of enforcement blips that serve to let everyone know that the police are, in fact, still in charge before things go back to how they've always been? So, Ed, I got this idea because I'd seen like 6 or 7 different headlines over the past 2 or 3 days.
Right.
All circled around this central idea of like, man, they really are cracking down.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing? What are you seeing out there?
Well, first off, I love the topic, of course, but I think you're right. So you and I have focused on a few of the crackdowns. So in particular, we talked about nominee ownership, and actually that relates to both business ownership and property ownership. So there's different angles to it. Uh, and then we've also talked about some kind of crackdown or maybe backlash against certain segments of tourists. It seems to be Israelis have been getting a lot of shit lately, Indians. But the question is, were these just isolated things, or is it part of a larger pattern? And I agree
Right.
with you. I agree with you. It's like, I mean, we're going to run through a bunch of examples. So the kind of purpose of this show is to expand. We're going to expand this topic to actually, they're not just cracking down on nominees. There's a whole bunch of different areas of the law that we're going to get into that shows that they're actually seem to be getting serious, like broadly serious.
Yeah, like any news day, you'll find like they raided a factory or they arrested some people working without a work permit or they closed a school that was working illegally or land encroachment or something. Like those stories happen fairly regularly, but they're hardly anything. But these headlines that we've seen are like kind of big deals and
Yes.
they are making a big splash. And it seems to be something that is sticking around, but for now anyway, but we'll see how that lasts. So like you said, let's just go through some of these headlines here and discuss what's going on. The first one is something that happened. It started happening a few months ago, actually, but I think it finally came into effect pretty recently. And this is Thailand's end of the 60-day visa-free stay for a lot of nationalities.
That's
Now,
right.
this is, it might not seem like it's directed at like the rule of law clamping down, but the reason they did it, at least is what they said, is because people were abusing the 60-day visa, which, used to be 30, but they bumped it up to 60. People were abusing that in all kinds of ways. And they just kind of got sick of it. So they snapped things back and put it back down to 30 days for most nationalities.
Just to clarify, by abuse, what Greg is saying is people will come here and try to work on this. It's a tourist visa, basically. So on a tourist visa, you can't work. And they're quite strict about it. We've talked about it a little bit. Even things like volunteering for no money is technically illegal in Thailand.
Right.
And what they were discovered under the 60-day thing, which you also could renew, is basically you had a lot of foreigners. Again, I think there were, in this case, a lot of Indians who were, working in restaurants or working in the tourism industry once they had 60 days. So they decided to roll it back to 30. So this is the rule of law is not just about the letter of the law. It's also about the spirit of the law. So,
Right.
the 60 days really was meant to be as a tourist, not to start acting like someone who lives here.
Yeah, you come in for 30 days. That's a pretty strict timeline. But you got 60, you got a bit more wiggle room to sort of look around and maybe
You can make some
figure out
dough.
your little niche. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially if you're a young person or like a low budget traveler, in a 60-day period, you might think, hey, why don't I work for a couple of weeks and save some money?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this wasn't just a little blip here. This affected the entire country, and it's 30 to 40 to 60 or whatever it is million tourists who come every year. So, that was a pretty major change.
No doubt.
The next one that we want to talk about is something we've covered before. I think we actually did a whole show on it recently, but it's, of course, the nominee situation where people set up a company that is owned by a majority of Thai people, only to be tricked and find out later that those Thai people don't exist, or that they're maids or drivers or just random people, and they have actually no input into the operation of this company that is
Right.
making money and a lot of times transferring that money outside of Thailand. They've been really cracking down on this over the past few months, and almost every day you see several headlines where people are getting slammed.
Right. Well, this so you posted a link in our show notes, and as a rule of law guy, what I want to see is that if they decide to, okay, let's start enforcing the law. What I want to see is that they're enforcing it the same against everyone, and it's not targeted. Because,
Right.
as I mentioned earlier, there's nothing wrong with the government saying, hey, we notice a pattern among certain people. There's a lot of maybe Indians working in the tourism industry or whatever. But the truth is, when they enforce the law, they have to enforce it against everyone. They can't say we're going to crack down on Israelis. I think that's wrong.
I agree.
You have to enforce it the same. So one thing I like about the story that you posted is that it actually involves Taiwanese, and it's not. Again, I'm not picking on Indians and Israelis. I'm just saying it seems like those two groups have been in the news. They've been in the news the most.
Yeah, right.
People people bitching about either Indians or Israelis, and so I'm glad that they're enforcing the nominee rules against Taiwanese.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where these crackdowns can sort of be seen to be applied in the wrong way as well. Like the laws are lax. The crackdowns, like you said, they can often be directed or targeted or unfair. But sometimes they are probably doing the right thing. Like in this case, it says 7 suspects, including 2 Thais and 5 Taiwanese nationals, were arrested after immigration police dismantled an alleged transnational nominee shareholding company that uncovered 27 companies registered at a single house in Samkok district of Pathum Thani. So clearly the law was being abused there, so.
No doubt. As long as they're going after everyone, then I support it.
Yeah. It's interesting what the issue that came up in the last time we talked about this too was that there's just these nominee cases, they've got 10,000 of them. And we can get to 3 a month.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I raised that point earlier. I found it interesting, skeptic who said, basically said that the Thai government doesn't have the means to enforce this. So, but we'll see. I mean, it's like you pointed out, it's basically in the news every day. Some new nominee bust is in the news every day.
Right. I will say, though, that the story also says financial records showed more than 130 million baht in circulation through certain corporate accounts within a 5-month period. We're in the wrong business, man. This podcasting doesn't pay that much.
Yeah, we need to set up an illegal nominee company and start raking it in.
Right. The Bangkok podcast, the Thonburi podcast, the Pathum Thani podcast.
That's right.
The Crackdown podcast, whatever it is. So this one is very interesting. The headline here says 6 hospitals probed over birth record scam.
Again, this is something else that I feel good about because it doesn't fit the pattern we've been reading about. This is something different. In fact, it sounds almost American because, right now in the U.S., there's a battle going on over birthright citizenship. And it's this idea that anyone born in America is a U.S. citizen.
Right.
And this, of course, it can be abused. In other words, you could be an illegal immigrant who crosses the border while pregnant just so your kid can be an American citizen.
I'm sure it's happened, yeah.
Right. But in the U.S., there's also a problem of wealthy Chinese tourists who fly into the U.S., again, while pregnant, and then they give birth in the U.S., their kid is an American citizen, and then they fly out. And this is something, this is something Trump has been complaining about. But essentially, this story is similar in that it's somehow Chinese in Thailand who, I think it's Chinese women giving birth in Thailand. Now, I think Thailand does not have birthright citizenship, but in this case, what they're doing is they're getting Thai guys to claim to be the fathers.
Right. Yeah. So it wouldn't work if, they claimed that I had been the father and an Asian baby comes out. They'd be like, whoa, something's up here. But you got, a Thai guy who is getting paid to say, yep, that's my baby with this lady.
That's right.
And it's not. It's, the father is Chinese. He's in China. The mother came to Thailand. So it's kind of the same idea as what they're going through with the U.S. with birthright citizenship, but just a bit of an end run around the rule there.
That's right. And actually, I do think this somehow overlaps with the nominee thing because I think then this is how like deep this goes. I think then the Chinese baby who now has Thai citizenship, they're then somehow using them as being like owners of companies.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Like my 6-month-old is the CFO of my new company.
Yeah, that's right. It's just the owner, like just the paper owner. So again, I'm just glad that the crackdown is not just focusing on, let's say, Farong, like because sometimes you just get these generic complaints about Farong, and listeners out there, the word Farong does not really mean foreigner; it really means Westerner.
Yeah, you would not call someone from Africa a Farang, generally speaking.
That's right. So in this case, I'm glad that they're chasing after Asians who are breaking the law, as well as white people.
Although, if Elon Musk came to Thailand, he'd be a Farang but even though he is from Africa, so
that's right. Good point.
He is an African American. Anyway, this is interesting. So it says, according to Dr. blah, 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 authorities are reviewing birth notification documents which record details such as the child's sex, date and time of birth, weight, and the names of both parents. The documents must also be signed by the delivery attendant, a supervising physician, and the hospital director. More than 160 cases across 6 hospitals are under review. If irregularities are found, the next stage could involve forensic examinations, including DNA testing. Hard to fake that.
That's right. Quite difficult.
Criminals are smart, man. Say what you will about crime not paying, but you gotta be smart to figure this stuff out. The next headline is something that affects a lot of civil servants. The headline says 5,000 dishonest officials to lose jobs over exam scandal.
This is probably the best. This is probably the best of all these stories, because in this case, it's a crackdown against Thai people, which supports, this supports the case that maybe Thailand is moving slowly, inexorably to become more of a rule of law society, because this is a crackdown on Thai people.
Now, it's very easy to sort of gin up a lot of anger about the dirty foreigners and how they're exploiting our systems and our laws and getting all kinds of shortcuts. But these are Thai officials going after Thai people. So this story says all key suspects in the civil service exam rigging scandal have been arrested. The officials who conspired with them will be charged, and exam cheats will lose their job. 11 officials are going to be charged with illegal assembly, document forgery, and putting false information into a computer system. Man, that computer law in Thailand is really, really powerful and really broadly applicable, isn't it?
Yeah, which could be good or bad. But in this case, I think what was going on is these are Thai people applying for like bureaucratic positions with the Thai government, and they have to take like a civil service exam. Like this is like and in this case they were cheating somehow. Like I think maybe the scores were faked, or maybe they got copies of the exam ahead of time. I'm not sure what the exact scam was.
Yeah, said Unsit Samputarat, the permanent secretary for Interior, said the investigation found irregularities in the exam scores of 5,000 new local government officials out of the 15,000 hired this year. They would probably lose their jobs. About 400,000 people sat the exams that were organized late last year to fill 6,700 positions.
Holy shit. Say that again. Wait, read that again.
Yeah, 400,000 people sat the exams.
Oh my God. 400,000
to fill 6,700 positions. Although,
oh my God,
in the previous paragraph it says that 15,000 were hired, so that doesn't really match up. Anyway,
still that's insane.
Maybe they just typical government bureaucracy. Maybe they're like, well, we want to hire a person for this job. Let's hire 2 for the same job just as a spare.
Right.
It said thousands of candidates paid bribes ranging from 350 to 800,000 baht, depending on the desired positions, to ensure they got a passing grade.
Brutal. So this is the best headline so far.
If it involves anyone, action will be taken against them all. Pressed on whether senior party figures would also be subject to investigation, he replied, certainly, if they are members of the party, there will be no exceptions. Not holding my breath for that one, but baby steps.
Right. Yeah. Well, since most of the time people do complain about Thai government inefficiency, if this is endemic, if the actual exams are scams, that might explain some of the inefficiency.
Yeah, we'll see how this one plays out. And the second to last one from the headlines, the last headline we're going to read, is actually the big news, the big tragic news of another fire at a pub up in Chatuchak district the other day as we're recording this on July 15th. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone's probably heard the story, read the story and seen the video. Flammable insulation inside the pub, electrical spark, blocked exits, locked exit doors, people lost and confused. Just another really, really enraging tragedy that could have been prevented. There's not much more to say than that.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. We talked about it a little bit on the bonus show. Obviously, it's a sign that regulations have not been enforced in pubs. So as far as our topic tonight, the issue will be, will there be outrage over this such that they actually start enforcing that? Because the problem is not with the law. The law already says you have to have exits, you have to, have ventilation. In this case, it's all about enforcement as usual. And as we said on the bonus show, what we need is outrage. Like Thai people cannot be my pen or I about everything. Like Thai people need to be outraged about this.
Totally.
To get the laws to actually be enforced.
Yeah, I've said that for years, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. Thailand has enough laws. What it lacks is enforcement, and that's a problem. But you know what? I'm not holding my breath for this one, man. I mean, didn't start, but in recent memory, the biggest one was the fire at Zantica, where like 66 people died. Then you had a few years ago, we had that bus that caught on fire, and all those school kids were burned.
Brutal.
In this bus. And people were angry for a few weeks, and then they say changes have been made, but where, when, I don't know, I guess not. And then it just dies down and people forget about it and like rinse, repeat. It sucks.
Well, I just hope that's not true this time.
Yeah, this is terrible. So we need sustained, consistent, loud anger and feedback.
For sure.
Otherwise, I don't think anything's going to change. So yeah, this is just a recent story just the other day. So unfortunately, we're going to have to read more about it as it plays out. But what I want to finish on actually is something that happened to me personally. Now, Ed, I think most people who listen to this are pretty well acquainted with Thailand's visa and work permit system. Most people can only stay here 1 year at a time. Every year you've got to trudge up to Chiang Watana, which is this behemoth building in the northern boonies of Bangkok.
That's right.
You've got to take an entire day sitting there waiting in line while they process your paperwork and take your fingerprints and sign 1 billion pieces of paper. So I did this last week, and I wasted an entire day up there and left my passport, photos, all this stuff. And, I left with the agent from my work that handles all this stuff for us. And she said, yeah, well, they'll let us know next week. And first of all, I'm like, wait, didn't I get it automatically? Like I've been doing this for 26 years.
Right.
Like I have to, and until they deign to give me another year to stay in the kingdom.
Right.
Okay, that's how it's done. So this was last week. So I had the weekend, and then on Monday, I decided to work from home because our company's pretty good with that kind of stuff. You can work from home on Mondays and Fridays if you'd like. And my son is on summer vacation now, so I figured I'll work from home today. We can have lunch and stuff like that. So I get a call from my agent on Monday afternoon, and she's like, hey, an immigration officer stopped by the office to looking for you.
Oh, shit. You mean to stop by your company, your office where you work?
Yeah, like a spot check to make sure that I was real, to make sure that I was actually at the office working.
Now, do you remember this ever happening before?
Never happening in my entire 26 years here. It's never happened once. I will say though, 26 years ago, I was working for a company without a work permit, and immigration would come by just to sort of do a spot check, and I would have to leave. But they didn't come to check on me.
I get it. Okay. So that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Yeah. But anyway, so I mean, it wasn't a big deal. The guy showed up, and the HR person was like, well, there was like 6 people in the office. She's like, no one works here on Monday. Everyone works from home. So Greg isn't here. And he's like, oh, okay, no problem. But yesterday, as we record this, I had to go up to Chiang Watana again to prove that I'm real.
Wait, what? Wait, didn't you just go to your office? Why did you have to go back to Chiang Watana?
Well, the guy's not going to come back again because, of course,
Oh.
they can't tell you, right? He can say like, "Hey, I'm going to come and check that you're real. Be here at this time and date." Like,
Oh shit.
you know.
Oh shit. So because you missed the spot check, you had to go back up to Chengwatana.
Right. So suddenly the onus was on me to prove that I exist. So I had to go back up to Chengwatana, another hour and a half in traffic.
Okay, this is proof. So it sounds like Thailand is finally becoming a rule of law society.
Cracking down, man. Yeah. And so, I mean, it was all very friendly. And I walked up there and I sat down and they signed a piece of paper and they took a picture of me against the logo that said like Chengwatana Immigration Bureau.
Oh my God. Okay, this is so funny.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole thing took about 20 minutes. And then I'm like, all right, well, back in the car and back in another hour in traffic to get back to the office.
God.
But it's never happened to me before.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, something's going on. I think overall, I'm going to say it's good as long as it's applied evenly, as I said. But like the fact that you've been here so long, you're married to a Thai person, you have a son, you've been paying taxes forever. It's a little bit silly that you have to go through this, that we have to go through this. It's a bit ridiculous.
A dude that arrived here last month has to go through this.
Right.
The exact same process. Up to Chengwatana, wait all day for a visa.
But after 26 years, you should have kind of, I know you're waiting on citizenship and all that kind of stuff, but after 26 years, you should have just kind of automatically been put in another category.
Yeah, like I'll jump through hoops, but give me the benefit of the doubt. Like I'm here. I'm not going.
After a decade, Christ, or after being married, we've said it many times. Thailand is very friendly to tourists, but actually not friendly to expats. Like, but in terms of the law, the law is not friendly to expats.
Yeah. Anyway, it wasn't that big of a deal. Just, normally actually I am there on Mondays, but this one Monday I just happened not to be at work. So anyway, interesting to see that things are changing that way. But I wonder how long it'll stick around.
I agree. I mean, the question is going to be in 6 months or 1 year, are we going to see the same headlines? That's the question. I do feel that this is different. I mean, I don't want to be the naive guy, but I feel this is somewhat different in how broad it is. Like, and it's covering Chinese and it's covering Thai people. So maybe things are changing for the better.
Maybe. And just as to end on a footnote here, you know how the work permits have always been a blue book, like a blue visa kind of thing. I mean, when you work for a BOI company, like I used to be when I worked with Agoda, that's a digital work permit, which is cool. It's on your phone. But these are the new physical work permits. I'm not sure if you've seen them or not. Check that out.
Oh, cool.
Just a little pink card.
Oh, nice. Mine is up in December. I guess I'll get one of those.
Yeah. Seems to be much easier. So
cool.
There we go. Anyway, that's our take on that. If you got any stories about getting caught up in any of these nets, hopefully nothing serious, but if you've seen anything changing, let us know. We'd love to hear what's going on out there.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some love, loathe, or live with, where one of us picks a particular aspect of living in Bangkok, which we discuss to decide if it's something we love about living here, loathe about living here, or have come to accept as something that we just have to learn to live with, no matter how we feel about it. Now, this weekend, I got a question for you.
All right, hit me.
It's to do actually with the thing I just talked about. Now, when you go to a bank or immigration or whatever, any official thing where you're asked to sign a stack of documents, how do you feel about signing, say they give you 10 pages to sign? How do you feel about that? Not about doing the signature 10 times, because that's not a big deal, to be honest. But how do you handle writing your signature? Because my signature can be quite different from time to time. And there have been times where someone has said, this doesn't match the one on your passport. It's similar, but not the same. So whenever they tell me about this, I get a little bit nervous, like, oh man, I better concentrate on my signature gets the same.
No, I've been in this exact situation exactly. This relates to what we were just talking about. It's silly how many times we have to give our passport to someone. I joke that half the people in Thailand have a copy of my passport, signed, like a signed copy of my passport. I just
What could
hand
go
out.
wrong?
I just hand out copies of my passport like left and right, and I
You hire a
sign.
helicopter and just bomb them over the city. Like
Yeah.
everyone get one.
And the number of times we have to put our signature down is crazy, as you said. And I've been in this exact situation, like just like you. I've been told that, oh, your signature doesn't match, because I mean, my handwriting in general is bad. My signature is a mess. My signature is, you know how artists just have a weird like scribble.
Yeah.
I'm like that, dude. I just like throw down like crazy squiggles.
Really? So
Yeah.
mine's kind of legible. I do the capital G, and then I do and then a G going down, and then I do a capital J, and then I do a squiggle, and then it's Jorgensen. So there's a G in the middle of my last name, and I usually do a little whoosh down with like the G coming down, but sometimes I miss it. So it just says like J squiggle with no G, and then they look at it going like,
well, just on principle, I got to go loathe. I don't like the fact that we have to do it. I don't like doing it. And then like you, I run into consistency problems because my actual full name is I am the third. And that's on my passport, the third.
Oh.
And then I don't, normally when I sign, I don't put the third, but then sometimes they notice that. They notice that I haven't put the third, and they're looking, and it doesn't match. So I find the whole process annoying, just on principle, loathe, and then in fact, I mean, I'm not like literally when doing it, I'm not hating it, but it's just I don't like it. So I think I'm over the line into loathe.
Interesting. I got a different take. I'm live with. I don't really mind doing a bunch of signatures. Doesn't bother me. But this one is almost a self-loathe for me.
Right.
I hate that I can't write my signature right at the same time every time. It makes me nervous. It's like going through security at the airport. You're like, did I pack any guns or drugs? I don't think I did, but Jesus.
Well, no. Well, that shows you that it's not normal. It's not normal just to have to write your signature so many times. It's just a sign of excess bureaucracy, excess paperwork. I'm a loathe.
All right, good enough.
All right, a final thanks to our patrons who support the show. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping in our never-ending quest for cool content. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages. Unless, of course, you're a PR agent who pitches clients who have no connection to Bangkok.
That's right. You can also listen to each episode on YouTube. You can send us a voicemail through our website. We'll feature that on the show. Hit me up on Blue Sky. I'm BKK Greg. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take it easy out there, and we will see you back here next week.
For sure.